bad news was in your inbox this morning. If you are a baseball fan, if you're an Angels fan, if you're a fan of unbelievable historic athletes, it was a bad morning because we found out that Shohei Ohtani, the best player in Major League Baseball, has a tear in his ulnar collateral ligament. And for those people who don't know what that means, in most cases it means Tommy John surgery and you can't pitch for a year. He is, of course, also a hitter. So let's find out what it means for all of it with Dr. Selene Parekh. You can find him online at thefantasydoctors.com, at thefantasydrs. He is everywhere, the official orthopedic surgeon of the Adam Gold Show, because every radio show needs an official orthopedic surgeon. First of all, your Yankees are doing as good as my Mets, so bad for both of us. But now what does it mean for Shohei Ohtani, future of pitching, and should he be playing anymore this year?
Well, Ohtani went through a Tommy John surgery back in 2018, and he still finished playing the rest of that season. So I think, Ohtani's very special. We see that happening and unraveling in front of our eyes. He's an amazing pitcher, but also hitter. So I foresee that he will try to continue to play this season as a hitting athlete only. I think he ends up having the ulnar collateral ligament surgery, the Tommy John revision surgery. It sounds like that's the way he's heading. He's going to get other opinions.
Right.
And it sounds like that's gonna happen at some point later on this year. Not a great situation for him when we look at the data, but it sounds like that's where he's heading.
All right. So what is the recovery time for the revision surgery as opposed to the full-blown surgery?
Yeah, well, the full-blown surgery, the first time around, 10 to 14 months to come back. You lose a year. When you have it a second time, everything's slowed down. So it can be 12 to 18 months to come back. Now, Ohtani's a phenomenal athlete, so maybe he comes back sooner. Maybe he comes back in a limited role where he's not pitching, he's just hitting. But if you're looking at his pitching, 12 to 18 months.
12 to 18 months as a pitcher. Everybody's body is different. You haven't examined Shohei Ohtani personally, but would the advice maybe be to come back as something other than a starting pitcher? Would it be better for him to be maybe a high impact reliever?
I think it all will depend on his ability to come back, the control he has of his pitches, the speed of his pitches, the accuracy, and I think that's going to determine in what capacity he comes back as a pitcher in the majors. If you look at the data, and if you just look at pitchers, so people who are only capable of pitching, 45 to 80% of them are unable to come back after a second Tommy John surgery. So the data is not great to be able to come back as a pitcher the second time around.
Jacob deGrom, I believe, is going to have to deal with that with the Texas Rangers because he had Tommy John surgery before he ever made it to the big leagues, back very early in his career in the minor leagues with the Mets, and just gone down another time. How rare is what is happening to Ohtani, or what has happened to Ohtani? We've always heard that if you have the Tommy John surgery, you come back stronger. Is that just a fallacy?
I don't think it's a fallacy. And again, referring to data, because that's what we can kind of rely on, 4% of people who have a Tommy John surgery have a revision. So it's not very common at all.
Right.
It just happens to be we're seeing two marquee pitchers needing it. But if you need it, the data is not great to coming back again. It's just hard. The first time around is hard enough.
All right, final thing. Can he theoretically do further damage to his elbow by continuing to play out this season?
There was a lot of discussion on that in 2018. I think in his favor is the fact that he's a right-handed pitcher, but a left-handed batter, which means he's leading with his right elbow. So he's not seeing a lot of stress on the inside of that elbow, which you would do if you were a right-handed batter, right? So That's in his favor. So I don't think that he's doing much more damage on his elbow by hitting through this.
Orthopedic surgeon to the stars, meaning us. Dr. Selene Parekh, I appreciate your time, my friend. Fantasy Doctors Online, all of your before your fantasy football draft. You got to go.
That's right.
Thank you very much, Doc. I appreciate your time. You got it.